Hi, I'm Andrew Armstrong and welcome to the Back Office Teardown Lab. You can see we have another package from Elegoo, and if you recall from previous videos, Elegoo make quite awesome all-in-one Arduino type kit. In fact, I've got one just above me, and you'll recall it was something like this, where you get a starter kit, and you can see I've dipped into this. You get like a chocolate box, a description of all the parts in it, and then basically a whole bunch of stuff. So virtually any project that you want to prototype, you can just get going with it. So Elegoo have kindly sent me another similar setup, but this time it's of a different type of technology. So let's have a look. So you see, if the seal on this bag, reject it. Reject it if it's damaged. You want to maintain the purity of the Elegoo. Now, you'll know that I've been interested in robots. So this is their smart robot car V4 with camera. So you can see it's the next level of technology here. So let's just jump straight in. It's in a box. There's writing on it that you'll never read. Very nicely presented. Look at that. A proper, nice, fat manual. Good. And that looks to be the entire tutorial. Let's just have a quick look. I don't normally look in the manuals, but look, you can see there it's basically a bit like a Lego kit, telling you all the parts to assemble. Smart robot car with it says the same writing on each thing, but there's a list of what's in the board. An Uno, so that's an Arduino Uno, a GY521, not sure what that is actually. Camera module, I/O expansion board, line tracking module, and ultrasonic sensor. Let's crack that open. And I'm guessing the reason this lot doesn't come in a plastic box is because once you assemble it, it's going to stay assembled. So the brains of this is an ESP32W Rover B, which is actually a pretty powerful chip. And I'm saying that actually, I'm looking over it, it's got a camera on it. So maybe the ESP is only for the camera, but that'll have Wi-Fi. Interesting. Let's throw that aside. There's your ultrasonic sensor. And this is probably the user accessible brain. There's an Arduino in there, a GPIO board, ultrasonic sensors we covered. Okay, that is an XYZ accelerometer, and that's the GY521, so it's got an accelerometer in it. It also has this thing, which is, this is the line tracking module, which is the infrared receivers and transmitters. So we have another box here which says Cell Box, Dead Plate, blah, 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 blah. Looks like it's all of the metalwork. It's super heavy. There's a roll of PVC tape, servo motors, plastic fittings, and everything. And then let's have a look at, oh my gosh, there's even another box underneath there. I'm guessing that's going to be the chassis rails and frames. Whoa, look at that bad boy. 4 motors, some lovely chunky wheels, and a remote control. And then finally, underneath that, this is pretty heavy too. I'm guessing these are the frame. In fact, they are. We can see in there. It's the frame in laser cut. So let's just spread this all out. I have to admit, I thought this was going to be a video where I just assemble this for you guys, but this is definitely going to be just a first look video because there's so much here to explore. Something I noticed when I opened the pack was a slight burning smell, and that's because all of the plastics, yeah, they've got that laser cut finish. So that's the first job you're going to have to do, is remove all of that brown paper. But some of the highlights among all of this, I've noticed there's a battery pack here. This is the source of the power of your robot car, and it has an on-off switch and USB. It's clearly a lithium pack in there, but it's nicely sealed. I'm guessing that's because this is targeted for young adults, children to use, so you want to have stuff nice and safe. Let's have a look here. You've got their own brand, Elegoo Uno R3, which I guess is an Uno compatible, and it's got all the standard markings. So if you're used to using the Arduino IDE, that should be a breeze. That's going to be no problem. This is the hat that lives on it. In fact, there's no reason why I shouldn't just push that on there, like so. Though we might have to pull it off to get to some of these if they're important. This is called the MPU 6050, the Smart Car Shield. So let's see what we can see on the front here. It says upload and cam. So I wonder if that's a... Oh, that's so that you could actually speak to this guy. So this is an ESP32 module, which looks like you connect it via this connector here. Probably this UART. So probably in upload mode, you'd be able to communicate to this board via this hat. I think that's what that's for. You can see there's a camera already on it. I had a similar device to this, I never got working, so this will be interesting to try. But it's one of the beefier ESP32 chips, so I might get more joy out of that. We can see on here as well, you've got that line tracking module header, which is this device here. You can see it consists of 3 pairs, and each pair has a transmitter and receiver, infrared transmitter and infrared receiver, and this would be being fed into the analog inputs on the Arduino, and it will be able to compare these to say if R is brighter than M or M is brighter than L, L is brighter, and between that it will be able to steer the car based on the basis of the different ratios of those. So that's quite interesting. What else can we see? Ultrasonic, and that must connect to that. So that is giving you a bat-like echo sounder, so it's going to click out and then click back. Again, I don't think it says transmit and receive, so it's firing it out of this one and receiving it on this one. So it's, and from that it can calculate distance, which is pretty groovy. Here we have that module. I think that goes here actually from the look of it, like that. And that's the accelerometer giving you the X, Y, Z. So technically you could tilt the robot car and it will know what angle it is. So perhaps it can adjust its speed, for example, going up a ramp, something like that. You'll be able to play with that in the software. Just going to pop this off again to see if there's anything surprising or interesting on there. No, not really. I mean, these boards just look nice and simple, don't they? I don't remember Arduino's ever being too complicated, but this seems less complicated than normal, probably because it's black on black, so you don't see the tracking so much on the PCB. Flicking through the manual, it appears that Elegoo have gone one step further. Not only have they created an excellent manual, by the way, the finish and quality is really good. The English is great. Everything is great in this. This is actually going to be a pleasure to build. But they've actually got a nice app here. And if you look through here, if you're basically setting this up for your kids, they can get going with it. And that's always been a big problem with some kits similar to this. A long while back, we did an ESP-based weather station, and that relied on the constructor to have to go to the market basically and pick out all of the open source components needed to make it work. Elegoo have gone the next step and just made that completely accessible, because at the end of the day, when you build this, you want to have a fully working platform that you can experiment with. So it's nice to get all of the software compiling and working, run it around for a bit, and then go in and start making your tweaks and modifications. So clearly this car can do some basic things like drive around. It's got 4-wheel drive, so it can steer and mote itself forwards and backwards using these motors. But something that's really cool is this. This lives on the top of it, and it's a servo. So it's a micro servo. And on that micro servo, they mount the ultrasonic sensor. So that lives on it. It looks a bit like a pair of eyes. But what you'll be able to do with this, for example, is do a 360 spin and get a 3D, I guess a 2D distance map of the room around you. A little bit like the robot vacuum cleaners use with lasers. So there'll be lots of fun mapping trickery you can do with this. I absolutely adore what they've done with the fittings here. Anybody who's assembled anything complex like a 3D printer or indeed a kit like this knows that this is what makes or breaks those kits. Here you can see all of the components are clearly labelled, what's in the bag, and no doubt if you count them up they'll all be there. Look at that, it's got really nice extruded, tapped extrusions there. Very cute indeed. So it's been fun for me to have a bit of a distraction going through all of this, but I'm not going to make it today. However, would I get this again as a gift for a, say, teenager or something like that? I think, yeah, I think if you've got somebody who's interested in this kind of thing, they're going to absolutely love this because it's got everything you need to get going, including the USB wires. So it's got the USB, I think that's a B connector, or is it an A? And a USB micro. What's interesting though, I've noticed the camera module is a USB-C. It doesn't have that, but I'm guessing you're not powering this up directly. It's being powered from the boards. The fact that the software looks pretty complete as well is a big game changer. There's nothing the stroppy teenager will need beyond what you have in the box. Keep a lookout for a video in the very near future on this, because I suspect one rainy afternoon this is going to be thrown together and we're going to have a play, make a little obstacle course through the garage or something. Thanks for watching.